Hi, welcome. I'm Mary and I hook books. I crochet things inspired by books. And this is going to be my May wrap up. Between my neighbors and the cats that just got a new kitty condo, I hope this isn't going to be too chaotic and I hope you can hear me over them a little bit. May was a really good month for me. I read 22 books and I had some really good scores. So I started the month not being a cat owner, and yeah, it was kind of a wild ride. It was also my birthday, so I was doing a blog where I tried to just read books that I thought that I would really enjoy, specifically some series that I've enjoyed in the past and wanted to continue in. And the very first book that I read this month was actually The Galaxy and The Ground Within. And this is the fourth book in the Wayfarer series, and I loved it so much. I gave it a 4.5. It just was very cozy, lots of friendship and found family vibes that I loved. And for that, I made a pair of sparkly scrunchies that kind of match the cover. And then I started making this beautiful blanket. We want to go down now, okay. Just don't knock over the tripod. And I did that whole blog, so I'll kind of go a little quick with these if I can. I read Defekt, the second book in the LitenVerse series, and I really enjoyed this one as well. The infinite IKEA alternate universes, and the humor hits for me, so that was a 4.5. Then I read Fred the Vampire Accountant, book 5, Deadly Assessments, and this was a solid entry. We got a lot more lore, which was really cool, so I gave that a 4.0. And then I continued in the Time Police series. I read About Time, which is the fourth book in that series. It wasn't really my favorite. We didn't really hang out with our main characters that much, so I still enjoy the humor and I gave it 3 stars, but definitely not my favorite in that series. And then I read Doctor Who Angel's Kiss, and it's just River Song fan service and I'm here for it, so it got a 3.5. And then Murderbot. I love Murderbot. I read Network Effect, which is the 5th Murderbot novel. Well, the first 4 are novellas. This is the first full-length novel. And I loved it. It gave me all the feels. I feel so connected to Murderbot on such a deep in my soul level. And I have a hot take that the first book was actually not my favorite. A lot of people say it is. For me, I think it would be the 3rd book, Artificial Condition, and then Network Effect. So I just love that series so much. Definitely good 5-star read for me. And I also read another Becky Chambers, Psalm for the Wild Built, and this is someone's 5-star, but it wasn't mine. I wasn't as captivated by it as I am by the Wayfarer series. I don't know if it's a trilogy or quadrilogy or whatever now. It was okay. I understand and appreciate it, but I only gave it 3 stars. And then I read the Keeper Chronicles 3.5. This is a little novella, and I really like our main couple. The fourth book was good, but it changes couples. The first three were about one couple, and then four and beyond, I guess, are her sister and her vampire lover in space. So it was everything that I love about the Innkeeper Chronicles. It was sweet, a little sassy, a little sci-fi, a little fantasy, and, you know, a monster Shih Tzu dog. Like, it was just great. So I enjoyed that, and I think, did I give it a 4? I didn't write down my score, but it was good. And then Everyone on This Train is a Suspect is the sequel to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and I really like this writing style. And if the humor doesn't hit for you, if you don't like the meta, then this will not be for you, but I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4.5. And then I read Golden Spoon, which this got a lot of hype, but it was only a 2.75 for me. It was pretty disappointing. And then I read A Trail Through Time, which is Chronicles of St. Mary's number 4. And this was a little bit more of the overarching universe story as opposed to the little time travel adventures, which I prefer. So it was good, but I gave it 3 stars as well. And I finished that with another time travel romp, Now, Then, and Everywhen. And I think if I didn't already read so many time travel books, I would have scored this higher. But for me, it was good, but I only gave it 3 stars. As a palette cleanse, I read Another St. Mary's, number 4.5, Christmas Present. And this was a St. Mary's novella. It was just a fun little romp. And for that, I used my Christmas-themed variegated yarn to make a heart because I love St. Mary's and their Christmas novellas. And I needed a palette cleanse between the Everything's Eventual Part 1 and Part 2. This is a Stephen King short story collection, and they were both just really solid 4 stars. Most of the stories were, I would say, at least like a 3 or a 4. There weren't any real duds in either of these short story collections. There were, however, a lot of bugs. So I made this cute little ladybug, as well as this happy little bumblebee. The bumblebee that Stephen King imagined was not a happy little bumblebee, but this guy is. And there's my air conditioner kicking on again. I read Isaac Steele and the Forever Men, and this was a really good hard-boiled detective noir with aliens. So that was really fun. I hope it's a series. Right now I think there's only 1 that's out, but of course I had to make a little alien. Again, I love this variegated yarn. And he's got his little antenna and an odd number of eyes. And I gave that one 4.5. I also read The Deep Sky, and this was a really cool concept. Only women going to space to colonize a new planet, and you just take the sperm with you. Like, how have we not thought of that before? And I really was engaged with both timelines, the preparation for the trip and the actual trip. There's a little bit of a mystery involved. the complexities of female relationships, along with some sci-fi spacey goodness, and I really enjoyed it. And one of the girls is obsessed with birds, so I made this cute little red robin. And I read another Stephen King, and Stephen and I have a contentious relationship. We're good when we're good, and we're not when we're not. So I read Revival, and I wanted to DNF so bad. I was so bored. But people said it's his most chilling ending yet. So I pushed through and was not impressed. So yeah, not our best month, Steven. But I loved the Everything's Eventual novellas or short story collections this month. So when he's good, he's good. When he's not, he's really boring to me. But there's a cool lightning theme in this book. And I think it would be scary for some other people, but I really just got bogged down with too much of this guy's life that I just did not care about. And I don't know if I should put these on. I think that would be too troublesome. I made these cute yoga socks because I read Incense and Sensibility. And I loved the second book in this series, which I read first. I hated the first book in this series. And the third book in this series I really liked. I think as far as romance, the second chance romance is more of my jam as opposed to Enemies to Lovers, which is what the first book was. The second and third were both second chance romances, or like friends to lovers. So that is more my jam. And I really enjoy the complex family dynamics that both actually of the main characters had with their families and their struggles as Indian people in California and trying to make the world better while taking care of their own families. The main guy is running for Congress, I believe it is. So, yeah, his idealism and the cutest little smelly dog. So, I actually liked that one. It's not my favorite romance I've ever read, but it was pretty solid, and there was a lot of yoga references. Hence, the yoga socks. And I read Every City is Every Other City. And this is another detective noir. And at first I thought it was going to be a little too machismo, like very masculine, like, oh, these people today. But really it wasn't. And in fact, they kind of made fun of that a little bit, which I really appreciated. And it's not a detective, but he is a private investigator, but his day job is scouting locations for movies and TV shows. So I thought that was really neat, and it takes place in Canada. So I made this sweet little maple leaf. And I read Blackout by Mara Grant. This is the third book in the Newsflash series, and this was my least favorite, I think, that I have read, definitely in this series, and I think from her period. There's some stuff that they do in this book that it's a choice. That is definitely a choice. And it undoes some stuff that I really respected from the first book. So I already have Rise, the collection of short stories, and the fourth book, I can't even remember what it's called. So I'll probably finish just out of curiosity and completionism. Is that a word? Um, but yeah, this was not fabulous. But I do really like these fluffy hats with the ruffles. Someone asked me to make that like sunflowery one for them, and I really enjoy this pattern. And I'm not sure if it is going to show up, but it's really sparkly yarn, so blackout, black sparkly yarn hat. You want to come join me for our outro? You want to come join me for our outro? Huh? 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 Huh, monster? Huh? So that was my May wrap up. It was a pretty good month overall. And I hope that you do something to take care of yourself, whether that is adopting a friend, human or otherwise, taking a bath, getting some exercise, getting a massage, eating a really great healthy meal, whatever self-care looks like for you. I hope that you go for it. And just remember, shoulders back, keep your head up, and breathe.
We're gonna keep it low key, keep it softly spoken.